Alright guys, so this is how you begin to chip away any loose material. You just take your chisel tip, put it in and just start breaking it off. That's going to make your room for the fill, and now I'll show you how you basically fill it in. Alright guys, so what I do to fill it in, I just take some of the plaster on the spatula, fill in the voids and spaces up, and I forgot to wet it, but not a big deal because I'm going to add some on now because this is very wet plaster. So what I'm doing is spreading it in here. Grabbing some more. Sorry about the shakiness, guys. Just doing this with one hand, so it's a little more difficult. Just slapping on the plaster. Don't worry if it goes over your existing rock work. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a pain. But then what you do is you take some crumpled aluminum foil already, and then you proceed to press it in to the material you just added in. Again, pinch, push in. That's all you need to do. And I'll do some more fill work in for you guys in a minute. So for the smaller fill-in work, you just take a smaller spatula. I used my little trowel here. Again, fill it in. Don't have to be too ginger about it, just fill that guy right in. And again, a tiny piece of aluminum foil just to give you those indentation lines and natural fissures of the rock. And I'll show you the added results when I pull the molds off when they're a little bit drier, right? See you in a few. Hey guys, so I pulled off the molds. There is still a little bit of cleanup work to do. So again, some of the plaster fell over, covering up some existing rock work from the last mold, and there's still a little spot here that I need to fill in. I also added a little more plaster before it dried on this side to finish this rock wall, and what I'm going to do right now is to show you how I clean it up a little bit here. So I'm going to take my chisel while the plaster is still pretty much still kind of get to work with it. I'm just cleaning up the edges here, chipping away at it, cleaving it a little bit. I'm going to wait for this part when it's dry. Here, what I'm going to do is going to do some light poking and chipping just to add a little bit of that rock feel to some of the plaster that leaked down, giving it that more type of a rock look. I'm going to cleave into it a little bit, scratch it in just to give it like a fissure, and chip away at that to give it a more natural look. As you can see, I'm going in, adding that fissure, and then I'm cracking along it to expose the rock. I'm going to use my toothbrush for this, but you want to use a lighter brush as well, and I just cleaned that up a little bit. So you can see I blended that in quite nicely. Gives you more rock work. I am going to fill this in a little bit, so I'm going to show you that, guys, in a few minutes, and I'm going to show you as well how to finish off this profile here a little bit, and then I will go into more of a little bit of carving and finishing off before this video is done. Do some cleanup work. So what I'm doing with the brush is just cleaning off any bits and pieces of dried on or semi-dried on debris before we fill in more of the cracks and do a little bit more work on these rock molds. Again, just to get them out, we'll be filling in a little bit more. What I'll do is I'll be filling a little bit more of this area with a little rock mold here on the bottom. We're going to be filling in this area here and a couple of little cracks here. While I'm waiting for the next batch of plaster to kind of dry up, we're going to do some more picking and sculpting of this area. I'm not quite liking it yet, so again, getting in there, cleaving, chipping. Just to give it that more natural look. And then just clean it off. So that's all it is for blending. If you see any too much of flat smooth piece, just chip at it. Make it cleave like natural rock wool. And then just use a dental pick to add some more detail. Pull at it. More cracks and fissures, and then you take your chisel and embellish it a little bit. And then clean it off. Just imagine how real rock would look. What I do is I look at some rock mountain pictures from the areas that I like to model. Again, British Columbia in my case, and I just try to replicate it as best as I can. Alright guys, I pre-wetted the areas I'm going to work on. So again, I'm just going to fill in some of these cracks, my existing cracks here. The larger areas, I'm going to use the bigger putty knife and just slap it on. Can't go wrong with just slapping it on. Then again, you take your aluminum foil, push it in, cover those filling spots, smaller pieces. I added a couple more molds here, a couple of spills there. This one here I'm going to make a blend it a little bit. I don't like this overhead ridge too much, so I'm going to add a little bit more in there. And then add that there. So all I'm doing is filling in the areas I wanted to fill in. Like so. And then cover with the foil. That's pretty much how simple it is. I'm going to add in some more areas off camera, and then we'll come in after I clean it up a little bit, and we're going to do some finer detail work, and that'll be this tutorial. Guys, so this is how the rock mold work turned out with the added molds. And again, we got some overhangs here and so on, so we're just going to trim a little bit of those off and blend some stuff in. Here I'm just going to lightly use my chisel almost at a 90-degree angle just to get the plaster off my tunnel portal. And again, clean that up a little bit. Just ever so gently, not to gouge the paint. Do some chipping here and there. To accentuate the rock work. Here I have a big overhang, so I'm just going to crack that off. Sorry about the camera work, guys. Again, one-handed. Here I'm going to have foliage covering it, so I'm not worried about adding too much detail there. Just chipping and carving where I think I needed. Anytime you get a little funny, unrealistic chip overhang like that, again, you just cleave it off with the chisel to blend it in. And again, this is going to be a nice little, another fissure. I'm just going to use the dental pick to pick at it and then clean it out a little bit, see how I like it. Gonna, again, just chip at it a little bit. More blending work in here. I have a little bit of too much of a smooth surface. Just gonna play with it just a little bit. Again, here I'm gonna do a sand slide. So what I'm just doing is going over where I think I need to. And add some chipping, making the rock a little bit more natural looking. Here I got to do some blending work because of the overlap of the new mold on the old. I'm just doing a quick couple of chips, nothing major. Some pieces flake off, no big deal. You can always go in and add some more plaster to fill it in. This part's too close to the track, so I'm just gonna literally just chisel that out like so. And what I'm doing is when I'm chipping this, I'm actually twisting it as well. So like I said, it gives that cleaving action of what a natural rock will do. Natural rocks usually crack and cleave. That's basically what I'm doing here. And then yeah, this is pretty much it. This is how it gets done. Just carve it. Work with a dental pick, work with your tools. See how it's gonna look. One little thing I'm gonna show you here, especially since this is real close to the track. I'm gonna make it like they blasted this. So as you remember in my highway overpass here where they blasted the highway into the cliff face, it was horizontal blast lines, drill lines. I'm going to do some vertical for you guys right now, just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take my chisel, sorry, not my chisel, my dental pick, and just do some linear lines down like they drilled. Not deep. And this looks like they drilled downwards and they put the dynamite in, or Cortex, whatever they used, and blasted away at the rock face. Gonna go in with the chisel a little bit and kind of go in. Now this feature, like your blast lines, your drill holes, it's best to do it when the plaster is still not 100% hard. That would probably do it within the first hour after you put in your molds. Because you can get a deeper carve in them. The harder the plaster of Paris gets over the next day or two, then you're going to have harder time carving everything in and out. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to work on this for another day or so to work on the details using the same techniques I showed you guys here. And then once that's done, I'm going to show you the finished look overall, and after everything's cleaned and vacuumed up. And then this second part of the how-to video will be completed. So see you then. Alright guys, so after some more carving and detailing, here is the finished product of the how-to. So you can see you can get a very realistic look just from using the aluminum foil. Another thing that I did that I didn't show you in the video, guys, is for the minor cracks and holes, I actually use pre-mixed spackling, so I don't have to mix any plaster or spend any extra time with that step. I just use that for the fine fills and also any other blending in of scenery on my layout. So yeah, so there's the finished product. Turned out quite well. Okay, before the closing comments, I want to give you another shot of the overall rock work again, especially the other side that you've seen in some of my updates. Hey guys, so that is the end of the how-to video on making rock outcroppings and rock faces with aluminum foil. I hope you guys found it beneficial and had all your questions answered. If not, please post them in the comments below. Please sub if you haven't already. In the future, I'm planning on posting in another few months of how I'm gonna wash and paint my, color wash and paint my rock molds. So I'll be back with that. So again, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully this guys helped you out and inspire you to try this method of rock work. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.